Up next on Women Talk Live, Children of Affairs. Forgive but can't forget. And now it's Women Talk Live with April J, Sassy Scribe, and Tyra Hill.
Women Talk Live. 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 Women Talk Live.
And welcome back to Women's Talk Live. We have a very, very, I think, serious show today. It touches home, really close to home, because it's something that Tyra has lived with her entire life. So today we're going to be talking about children of affairs. So our first, I guess, kind of is talking about the children. Like, it's not my fault. I can't say I can't say I have dealt with that.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it's your story too.
It is. It is. I'm not a child of an affair, but I have had, my ex step out on me and had a child during our marriage.
Right. Yeah.
So, and just kind of, for me, you kind of hold a little bit of that. And
Just
and
a little resentment.
It is,
Yeah.
and then you look at it where my kids are dealing with that right now. Even me, like my dad stepped out on my mom, and he had other kids, and we have nothing to do with each other. Absolutely nothing. I mean, it's not that I hate them. I just don't deal with them at all.
You guys don't know each other. And that's what it is. A lot of times, my siblings and I, whenever we get into it, because I try not to get into it with them, because I understand their pain. I get it. As a woman, I get it. Our father stepped out on your mother to sleep with my mother, and I came along. As a woman, I get it. As a daughter, I get it. As a wife, I get it. But when they say things like, I don't like her because she thinks she's better than everybody else, you can't say that because you don't know me to know what I think about myself. Surely you hear the things that I'm doing and how I move, but you don't know me to know me. And I think it's really, really sad that parents allow for the turmoil to fester. I feel my father was the one who brought about this. He should be the one to sort it all out.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
know, it's sad that
Absolutely.
when I called to speak to my father, whatever way that my stepmother is feeling, if she feels like dealing with me, she'll speak. If not, I can call and say.
He should have checked that immediately.
Immediately. But even with her, when she left my father and remarried him or got back with him, then you should have accepted the fact that he had me. So it's just really rough. It's emotional. You extend grace. You try to understand. You extend sympathy and empathy. But it's painful because you are the scarlet letter. You're the scarlet letter. Oh, that's John's baby girl. Oh, that's... I'm 41 years old and the story hasn't changed. So, April, I feel you. I don't know what I would do if I was that wife. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I do know that personally, I wouldn't treat the child different on the strength of how I was treated.
Yeah,
You
right.
get what I'm saying?
Right.
Standing at the bus stop, catching my bus, being called ugly, being called bees, being called out my name as a child by an adult. That's painful.
But that came from, and I'm gonna play.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
play
no,
devil's
no.
advocate because that's not from it's from a source of pain.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
from
get
that.
it.
That was a hurt heart because it is a constant reminder. Women, look, men will cheat and women will forgive that.
Yeah.
But a baby is a constant reminder of what he did, when he did it, what she was going through when it happened. It's a constant source of her pain.
Right.
And if she is going to continue to stay with that man, then she's going to have to learn to accept that child.
Right.
I know how selfish I am as an individual. And I know that that is not something that I could personally
Right.
deal. I know me, especially if I had children. How do you explain to children that mommy and daddy are still together, but daddy met another person, and that's their mommy, but that's their dad? How do you explain that to children so that the siblings can have a relationship? It's hard enough for men who have babies by multiple women, to get those women to be on the same page, to get the siblings to forge a relationship. But imagine a wife.
But what if you're married to a serial cheater? See, my mother wasn't my dad's first outside of the marriage.
Well, you know what?
You get what I'm saying?
I understand that.
And that's where I was coming from. And it all deals with how the man deals with it, because you have some very immature men who don't know how to deal with it. And unfortunately, it wasn't the first time that my ex had cheated on me.
Absolutely.
So, you know, with this, and I tell women this all the time, you know, it's extremely painful situation when you find out, oh, he has a baby, and y'all still married. Like that's no matter how you
slice it out on social media,
and to find out on social media,
it's like it's hurtful, it's painful, and
humiliating.
It is, and you hold a lot of that anger.
Dishonorable.
Right, it is, and then I think, and like you said, it's all in how the man handles it. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and listen, whoever you may fault me, I don't care at this point. I don't care what people think, but you know. For me, it's like, it's a way you handle it, and you need to man up and be a man. If you can't do that, then I can't have respect for you.
See,
it's like, and for my kids, I have daughters.
Right.
I have teenage daughters that this happened to.
Right.
So, for them, it's like, they didn't feel like their father cared about them. So it's a different dynamic for them. So they're like, okay, well, not only they don't want to deal
about this child.
They don't want to. They're like me. They don't want to deal. And unfortunately, that's how I was. That's how I was. I don't deal with my siblings. I really don't. I have nothing to do with them. I couldn't even tell you what they like, who they. I don't. I don't deal with them.
You don't
at
know them
all.
as people.
I don't. And
Would
it's
you
a
be
personal.
willing to build a relationship with them?
I don't think so. I mean, for me, I tried one time, and I felt like they used.
Okay, well, see,
so
that's what
I just said,
people
okay,
need to
I'm gonna
hear
leave that
is that
there.
once you were open to that, but I don't want people to just think that you just weren't open to it.
No, I wasn't.
You tried it.
I did try, and then I felt like I was like, they took advantage.
And some people do.
Yeah, and I just said, and for me, it's like I already have trust issues.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna leave you exactly where you are.
But you have to be true to yourself, and this is what I say all of the time. It's so easy for people to tell you how to maneuver through it.
Until they've been through it.
Until you've been through it. And this is my thing to my siblings. Our father wasn't at my house for Christmas. I didn't wake up to him on Christmas mornings. I didn't see him for birthdays. I didn't get the perks that they got. And so for me, that was painful. But on the flip side of that, look at it from my eyes, because I'm looking at it from your eyes. But on the flip side, how does your sister feel? He wasn't at my graduation. He didn't even call me for my 41st birthday. And I'm not angry, I'm not upset, but those are the perks that they get. You get what I'm saying?
But is it really a perk if your dad is a serial cheater? How many more siblings do I have other than you? Do you see what I'm saying? So, okay, we can get over you, but then it's 2 and then it's 3. I mean, how many is it? How many times as children do you have to go through? Because see, children go through the affair as well. They go through the divorce. They go through the cheating. They go through all of that. So,
well, I'm the baby. I have my oldest sister, and let me say this: I've been working.
Before you say that, let's come back with that.
Yes.
All right. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're gonna be talking about forgive. But I can't forget.
Yes.
So we got much more to come back. So don't go anywhere.
This is good.
This
More
is.
Women's Talk Live coming up next.
And we are back live here at Women's Talk Live. And when we left, we were discussing Tyra, talking about your relationship with your siblings and how they make you feel, that it was basically they're making it feel like it's your fault.
Like it's my fault.
Yeah.
And you want to build relationships with them. However, there's a wall up. But I need for all of my siblings to know, and I've said this to them several times, there's nothing in the world that I wouldn't do for them. But all they have to do is give me a chance. I don't think that I'm better than you. We have the same bloodline, our father, our grandparents, our aunts, and everything. But for some reason, it's that, and I'm okay with it now. As a child, it used to hurt me, really, really hurt me, because I grew up in Port Huron. My father lives around the corner from where I live.
Well, people may not know where Port Huron is. So
Port
you gotta let
Huron,
them know.
Michigan is an hour away from Detroit, an hour away from Flint, but you can see Canada. It's 10 minutes from Canada.
Okay.
So we're right there. It's
You
where
up in
Thomas
the
Edison
cold
was born.
part, the
Yeah, it was where
cold
Thomas
part.
Edison was born.
But you know, so April, and what people don't know is you know, you're giving your story.
Yeah.
You're talking about your story, and you're so poised.
Yeah.
And doing it, because like, you know, Tyra and I would have
I'd
drama
have flipped
queens.
over this table.
Yeah, flipped over the
Right,
table
flipped
20
over
times,
right.
and
Yeah.
the way in which the things, you know, what
Yeah.
happened to you, for people that don't know and don't know the industry that we're in, it was played out on social media.
And it's new.
And
That's
not only
fresh.
was it played out on
definitely
social
was.
media, it was played out in front of your
Children.
and his friends
It
Yeah.
is.
within
It
the
is.
industry
It
when we
was.
did our live segments
Right.
within the area.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
you know, everybody kind of like, you know,
Right,
whispered.
you know, and you know, a lot of people tell me this. They were like, "How did you do it? How did you do it?" Listen, you know, I've always put up walls.
Right.
That's just me. You know, I'm like, okay. But for me, it was like, it was either end up behind bars.
The Creole chick was coming
Okay?
out. The Creole
End
chick
up
was
behind,
coming out.
because trust me, if it was me 20 years ago when I had
It was
a
a
very
different
bad
situation.
temper,
And no
oh, trust
kids.
and believe, yeah, both of them would have been at Baltimore Cemetery, okay?
Right.
But for me, I was like, you know what? I have 2 daughters. I cannot let them lose their mother.
No,
Right.
you can't.
They're my babies.
Right.
Right.
Because they've already lost their father.
Exactly. That I
Right.
could not do that. And you know, now it's like he wants to keep everything hush hush. No, you put it out there already.
Right.
So everybody
Exactly.
knows. So it's
The
for
world
me. It's
knows
like,
Joe's a
it
hoe.
is. And for me, when I do talk about it, especially when I talk about it to other women, because you know I have talked about this to other women. You know, for me, it's therapeutic.
Right.
It helps me.
It's very therapeutic.
Right,
the more
right.
You talk
And a
about
lot
it.
of women are like,
Even
wow.
writing it down, even
Yeah.
if you can't, and I find
And
when I go
journaling.
through things, if I can't talk about it,
Right.
I have to write it down. And the writing process, like write him a letter, really and truly.
Even if you never give
write
it to
him a
him.
letter, even if you never give it to him, everything that you feeling at the end of that letter, when you finish it, when you put that final period or exclamation point or whatever that sentence close is, you will feel so much
Well, you know-
relief and stress
Right,
because
you know, it's
as a
inter-
writer, it's so cathartic.
Right. It's interesting you say that because, you know, I took a year off from work
Yes.
because I had to get myself
Yeah.
together.
Yes, you did.
Emotionally,
I
you
really
were
did.
tapped out.
I really was. And, you know, a lot of black people don't do this, but I went to therapy.
Yeah.
I had to sit down. I had to talk to somebody who didn't know me, didn't know the situation.
Unbiased,
and that was,
unbiased.
Exactly.
A
And that was,
professional
unbiased.
therapist,
Right,
not
exactly.
a pastor,
Not a pastor.
not shunning pastors,
No,
but
no.
professional people that can give you tools.
Right, and
Yes.
and that's what he had me do. He had me write a letter, and I didn't realize how much I had in me.
Yes, you did.
I mean, this
Anger.
it is because we as women, I think men don't realize is
We
that
carry so much.
is that you can break a woman down.
Yes, yes.
Especially after you put so much
17 years.
into that person.
That was a waiting to exhale
Building
moment.
yeah, it's like, and then for, that to happen, and then for you to, everybody looking at you like,
Embarrassed.
yeah, it's
Yes.
just like, and then, the part of it is like, this was not something, a person I didn't know. This was somebody I knew. This was somebody
Somebody
that
who said
I
he loved
helped.
you, who promised to take care of you, who promised to honor you.
No, but just not him.
No, she's
the other
talking about the
woman.
other
Okay.
person.
So,
that you invited her
Oh,
in.
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
invited her into
So,
your world
and I
and
don't-
showed her your
Exactly.
industry.
And
like a mentor. And this
Right.
is how.
Well, she was the Judas at the table.
Exactly.
But
I do know. I may not know the Bible, but I know that
everybody
much,
needs a Judas, and not to take away from you, April, because I get it. We watched you go through this.
Yes.
But I would not take anything away from saying that you came through this like a champ.
Yeah.
With your
I
held
did.
head
I
high.
did. I
With your
definitely did.
girls back together, with your business, and a lot of women, and since we're talking about her,
Right.
whose name we shall not name or speak, it's two types of different women. She knew what she was doing. But I want to say something about my mother because I don't want anybody to think that my mother
Right.
is a home wrecker.
Exactly.
My mother was 16 years old when she met my 30-something-year-old father. Wow. When my mother got pregnant with me, she was 18 years old. For 2 years, he had been courting her. Wow. He was her sugar daddy. I was born in 76. They met in 74. So she was an innocent. She was a victim.
She was.
And I'm
She
not
was an absolute
saying that she wasn't wrong. But to get
But
pregnant.
at 16, he had her
Yeah,
mind.
He had her mind.
He had her
Yeah.
mind.
He was
And
older.
to get pregnant at 18 in the small town that we live in, and to be forever reminded with that scarlet letter of me.
Yes.
But to not miss a meal for her daughters, to still go to work every day, to still be the mom that I needed for her to be. Bertha Sly, you the real MVP.
Right.
And Mommy, I love you. Because I don't ever want my mother to think that I blame her for how I get treated. For years I did. But I went to therapy.
Right.
And the therapist was able to help me sit down and talk to my mom because I was angry.
Right.
But it wasn't until my mother told me her story last year when I turned 40 that I met your father when I was 16 years old. I wasn't looking to mess with that woman's husband. So, Mom, I love you. And even though some people may not forgive you or some people may not forget, you are the MVP. I never wanted for anything. You instilled morals and values into me, and everything that I am today is because of the woman you have always been in my life. I'm sorry, y'all.
No.
It's a touchy
absolutely
subject.
fine.
It really is. It really
It
is.
really is. It really is.
So, April, I'm really praying for the girls because I know right now it's hard for them, but I don't want them to be bitter like my siblings. And maybe one day they can come and sit and talk to Auntie Tyra, and I can show them the other side. Because guess what? I have nieces and nephews
That you don't know.
No, I deal with my nieces and
okay,
nephews,
okay.
and we love each other. But because their parents don't rock with me, I can't vibe with them like I do my sister's kids from my mother's side. You know, so yeah, it destroys families.
It does.
It really
It does.
And if we're not careful, we'll have siblings and cousins out here screwing each other if people don't know who their family
Exactly.
are.
Right.
That's true.
So we have to put a stop to this, and
That's
we have
true.
to talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So, Tyra, we'll let you.
Tyra.
You know, we love you, babe. We
Love
love
you,
you.
y'all too.
Love you. So, well, listen, when we come back, we're going to wrap up and give our final thoughts. So, please don't go anywhere. We have more of Women's Talk Live coming up next. And welcome back to Women's Talk Live. I'm telling you, this was an emotional show.
Yeah.
Very, very emotional
Emotional.
show.
Yeah.
But, Tyra, I'm just, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, April. I'm proud of you too. We did this together, two different stories, but same perspective.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I'm so
Exactly.
sorry that
Exactly.
happened to you.
You know what? Yeah, I look at it like this. It was a lesson, and look what came out of it.
Right.
From the lesson
Me.
came a blessing.
Right.
Me came out
Right.
of it. And I have to say, I met such a wonderful man.
A wonderful fine
very,
man.
very
What
wonderful
fine
man.
man.
And, I mean, and he-
Amazing father figure.
exactly. And
Don't
I
be
mean,
the
Amazing
dope
father
guy.
figure. Yes, he is.
for me,
Yeah.
I don't say this often to him,
Yeah.
but I mean, he has really brought me out.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
are, I have
so
to say this and
supportive.
take this as a compliment. You are a completely different woman than the woman I met 2
Exactly.
years ago.
Exactly.
You are absolutely
Right.
100% a different woman.
Yeah, he's
And
my peace.
I love it.
He's my peace, and I
And
tell
that's
that
what
all
I
the time.
see.
He's my peace.
That's what
and
I see.
he's my baby. So I mean,
Yeah.
and
Look at her smile.
But you know,
Look at
but
he's my
that came
baby, like
with-
that 16-year-old glow and whatnot. Oh.
With the forgiveness, like at some point, you forgave him, if not for everything.
Right.
You started forgiving.
Yeah.
And eventually the girls will get there too.
Yeah, they will.
However, that's something he has to fix.
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
But all you can do is be there for him. So forgiveness is really important.
It is. It took I say this because with my dad, like I said, he did step out with my mom, and for the longest time, me and him like barely spoke.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was over 30 and had my kids and everything, and he said something, and I didn't realize how much stuff I had. I blew up at him, like I had all that unleashed,
That you held
and
inside.
he never said a word. He just, and at the end he was like, I love you, and I'm sorry. And he said, I'm gonna do what I can to be a better dad. And I was like,
That's all they can do.
and
That's all they can
it was
do.
like that weight.
Yeah.
And we were able to build on our relationship.
And then move forward
Can I
from
say
that.
this?
Because you forgive, but you
interviewed
never forget.
Exactly.
Bishop Carletta Vine from the Preachers of Detroit. I actually flew into Detroit. And at the end of the interview, Bishop Carletta Vine put me to the side. And she asked me about my father. Had never talked to her. We didn't know each other on a personal level. And she said, come here. She said, that relationship with your father. She said, I don't know you. She said, this is our first time sitting down. She said, sometimes you would think that it's the parent's job to fix the wrong or to make the wrong right. She said, but God didn't equip him to do it. He equipped you. You make that wrong right the best way that you know how, and watch God blow your mind. Every door that you're supposed to go through for your career, the world is going to know your name. She said, but not until you start the healing process. I started that healing process 3 years ago. And from that day until this day, the world has known my name. It's up to you to start that healing process. Do the work. If the father can't do it, the mother can't do it, you do
have
it.
to do it.
Exactly.
You do it. If not for
Exactly.
nobody else, but for you.
Right. And that leads us to our final thought of the day. Everything you do is based on choices you make.
Wow.
Don't create storms and then cry when it rains. It's not your parents, your past relationships, your job, the economy, your age. It's not even the weather that is to blame. You and only you are responsible for every decision and choice you make. So man up and simply own it.
Personal responsibility.
And that leads us to the end of our show. Welcome back. Welcome back. But that's Women's Talk Live with your girl, April J.
Sassy Scribe.
Tyra Hill.